High school is supposed to be about making memories, friends, football games, first loves. But for some of us, it's where we learn that some memories refuse to stay buried. This is my story, and I'm still not sure if I escaped or if it followed me home. I transferred to Lincoln High halfway through sophomore year. February, cold, gray, the kind of month where everything feels temporary. My family had moved 3 times in 5 years, military life, so I'd gotten used to being the new kid. New faces, new hallways, new locker assignments. They gave me locker 247, second floor, east wing, right next to the bathrooms. The metal was dented, scratched with initials and curse words. Typical. The locker next to mine, 248, was empty. Or at least I thought it was. The first morning, I was organizing my books when I heard it. A faint shuffling sound, like fabric brushing against metal. I paused. Listened. It stopped. I shrugged it off. Old building, weird acoustics, but the next day, it happened again. And this time, there was scratching, slow, deliberate, like fingernails dragging across the inside of a locker door. I turned to 248. The locker looked normal. No lock, no name tag. I tried the handle. It didn't budge. Not stuck, sealed, like it had been welded shut. I asked the guy on my other side, a junior named Tyler, if anyone used that locker. He barely looked up from his phone. Nah, been empty for years. Why? He hesitated. Some girl went missing. They closed it after. That's all he said before walking off. I should have left it alone. But I'm curious. I asked around. Most people didn't know. A few mentioned the name Sarah Chen, sophomore. Disappeared 3 years ago. The rumor was her backpack had been found inside locker 2048, but she never was. No body, no leads, just gone. I tried to ignore it, but the sounds didn't stop. Every morning, shuffling, scratching, sometimes a faint tapping, rhythmic, like someone was trying to communicate in Morse code. I started arriving later to avoid the empty hallway. But one Thursday, I got detention for skipping gym. Had to stay until 5 p.m. The building was nearly empty by the time I left. I walked past my locker. The hallway was silent except for the hum of fluorescent lights. One of them flickered, and then I heard it. My name. Whispered. From locker 248. I stopped. My heart slammed against my ribs. I told myself I'd imagined it. But then it came again, clearer this time. Help me. I stepped closer, pressed my ear against the cold metal. Breathing. Shallow. Desperate. Then the voice again, barely audible. Help me. Please, I'm still here. I sprinted to the security office. Dragged Officer Ramirez back with me. But when we reached the locker, it was silent. He checked the records. Confirmed. No one assigned. Welded shut after the incident. He told me to go home. Get some sleep. That night I couldn't stop thinking about Sarah Chen. I found her case online. Photos of search parties, interviews with her parents, theories about abduction, runaway, foul play. Nothing concrete. She'd vanished like smoke. Her locker had been the last place anyone saw her belongings. The next morning, I opened my locker and froze. On the inside of the door, pressed against the metal, was a handprint. Small, feminine. 5 fingers splayed outward. But it wasn't on my side. It was pressed from the inside, as if someone had been trapped in the narrow space between locker 247 and 248, desperately trying to push through. I requested a transfer that afternoon. They moved me to the art wing. Different floor, different hallway. I never went back to the east wing. Graduated a year and a half later. Left town for college. But sometimes, Late at night, when the dorm is quiet and I'm alone in my room, I hear it, scratching, faint, persistent. And I wonder if Sarah Chen ever really left that locker, or if she's still looking for someone to hear her. I don't know what happened to Sarah. Maybe I never will. But I know one thing. Some places hold on to people, even after they're gone. And sometimes, if you listen close enough, you'll hear them calling, begging, hoping someone will finally answer. Teachers are supposed to educate us, guide us, prepare us for the future. But what happens when a teacher knows things they shouldn't? Things no one could possibly know. This is the story of Mr. Graves and the 5 weeks that disappeared. It was October when Mr. Brennan had the stroke. Our AP history teacher. Mid-lecture on the Cuban Missile Crisis, he collapsed. Paramedics came, ambulance. The whole school watched from the windows. We were told he'd be out for a while. They'd send a substitute. Mr. Graves arrived the following Monday. Thin, 50s. Gray suit that looked like it hadn't been updated since the 80s. Wire-rimmed glasses. He never smiled. Not once. He didn't introduce himself beyond writing his name on the board in perfect old-fashioned cursive. He taught from memory. No notes. No textbook. Just spoke, and we listened. At first, it was fine. He knew the material. Better than Brennan, honestly. But then things got weird. It started during a lecture on Cold War espionage. He was talking about deep cover operatives, double agents, secrets buried for decades. Then he stopped mid-sentence, looked directly at me, and said, "Your grandmother's name was Elena, wasn't it?" I blinked. Yeah. Why? She died in a car accident. You were 7. It was raining. She never saw the truck. The room went silent. I felt my stomach drop. I'd never mentioned my grandmother to anyone at Lincoln High. My family didn't talk about the accident. It was too painful. My mom still cried if you brought it up. How do you... History, he said, turning back to the board, is full of unfinished business. He continued the lecture like nothing had happened. I sat frozen. After class, I asked him how he knew. He didn't answer. Just stared at me with those pale, empty eyes and said, "Some things aren't meant to be forgotten." Over the next 2 weeks, he did it to other students. Random, deeply personal revelations. He told Jessica Ramirez that her uncle had died in prison. Told Devon Carter his father wasn't his biological dad. Told Alicia Monroe about her older brother's suicide, something her family had hidden from everyone, even her. Alicia ran out of class, sobbing. We reported him. The principal called him in, but there was no record of Mr. Graves. The school had never hired him. The substitute agency they contracted had no one by that name. No application, no background check, nothing. But he kept teaching. Every day, same gray suit, same empty stare, same impossible knowledge. We started skipping his class. Whole rows of empty desks. The administration didn't seem to notice or care. It was like he'd always been there, like reality had bent around him. One afternoon, I stayed after class, asked him directly, "Who are you?" He folded his hands on the desk. "I'm a teacher." "You're not. You know things you shouldn't. Dead people, secrets, things that are buried." He smiled for the first time. It didn't reach his eyes. "The dead don't bury themselves, son. The living do. And the living make mistakes." What does that mean? It means some debts follow you beyond the grave. The next day, Mr. Brennan came back, looking healthy, confused. We asked him how long he'd been out. 3 days, he said, just a minor episode. Doctor cleared me. 3 days. We'd had Mr. Graves for 5 weeks. I checked the attendance records with the office aide. 5 weeks were missing. Just gone. No substitute logs. No records. October had vanished from the system. On the last day we saw him, though we didn't know it was the last, Mr. Graves wrote something on the board before leaving. Just one sentence in that perfect cursive. Some debts follow you beyond the grave. Then he walked out. No goodbye. No explanation. The door closed behind him. When we checked the hallway, he was gone. Security footage showed nothing. No one entering or leaving the building. I did some digging later. Found an obituary from 1983. A man named Harold Graves, high school history teacher, died in a car accident with a student he'd been having an affair with. The student was pregnant. The crash was ruled suspicious. Some believed it was murder-suicide. The case was never solved. I don't know if it was the same man. I don't know if it's even possible. But I know what I saw. What we all saw. And I know that some teachers don't just educate the living. Mr. Brennan still teaches AP history. He doesn't remember being gone. None of the staff do. But those of us in that class, we remember. We remember Mr. Graves. And we remember what he said. Some debts follow you beyond the grave. I just hope mine aren't waiting for me when I die. Every school has a place you're not supposed to go. A room, a hallway, a door. And every school has a reason why. This is the story of the door. And what happens when you open something that was meant to stay closed. West Valley High was built in 1962. 3 stories. Brick. Brutalist architecture that made it look more like a prison than a school. Most of it was unremarkable. But every building has its secrets. Ours was the basement beneath the science wing. Teachers said it was off limits. Structural concerns, asbestos, old storage. But juniors and seniors whispered different stories. They called it the door, a steel hatch at the bottom of a stairwell behind the chemistry lab. Legend said a student died down there in the 80s. Hazing ritual gone wrong. Some claimed you could hear banging at night. Others said the school had sealed it permanently. I didn't believe any of it. Not until junior year, during a late chemistry lab. We were synthesizing aspirin. My lab partner, Marcus, was the kind of guy who'd do anything for a laugh. He dared me to check the door during bathroom break. I shouldn't have, but I did. I slipped out when the teacher was distracted. Found the stairwell. It was tucked behind a supply closet, easy to miss. The air changed the moment I started descending. Colder, heavier. The fluorescent lights overhead were dimmer here, flickering like dying fireflies. The hatch was at the bottom. Steel, rusted at the edges. A padlock hung from the latch. I grabbed it, expecting resistance. It fell open in my hand. Unlocked. I should have left. Climbed back upstairs. Told Marcus to screw off. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. I pulled the hatch. It groaned. A deep metallic sound that echoed down into the darkness below. A smell hit me immediately. Wet concrete, copper, decay. I turned on my phone flashlight. The beam cut through the blackness, revealing a narrow tunnel. The walls were concrete, covered in scratches, deep gouges, hundreds of them, as if made by fingernails. Some were words, frantic, desperate. Let me out. Help. Don't go down. I should have stopped. I didn't. I took a step down the ladders. Then another. The air was thick, almost suffocating. The tunnel stretched about 30 feet before ending in a wider chamber. My light swept across the space. Old equipment, broken desks, filing cabinets. And then I saw it. A shape, hunched in the far corner, human-sized, motionless. I froze. My breath caught. The shape moved. Slowly, it turned its head toward my light. No face. Just darkness. A void where features should be. But I could feel it looking at me. Through me. I stumbled backward, dropped my phone. The light flickered. In that split second of darkness, I heard it move. Fast. Closer. I grabbed the phone, scrambled up the ladder, and slammed the hatch shut. Something crashed against it from below. Hard. The metal dented outward. I ran. Didn't stop until I was back in the lab. My teacher asked why I was pale. I lied. Said I felt sick. Marcus laughed. Thought I chickened out. 2 days later, maintenance found the hatch welded shut. Industrial grade. No one at the school had ordered it. Security footage from the stairwell showed nothing. No one entering. No one leaving. Just static for the hours I was there. But students started reporting nightmares. The same nightmare. Being chased through tunnels beneath the school by something that knew their names. Something that whispered them in the dark. I was one of them. I graduated in 2023, left town, went to college 3 states away. But I still have the nightmare. I'm in the tunnel, scratching at the walls, running. And behind me, I hear footsteps, slow, deliberate. And a voice, my voice, calling my name from the darkness. I don't know what was down there. Maybe it was a student from the 80s. Maybe it was something older. Something that's always been there, waiting beneath the school. But I know one thing. Some doors are locked for a reason. And if you open them, you let something out. Or worse, you let it know you exist. Death is supposed to be final, an ending. But what happens when someone refuses to let go? When unfinished business keeps you tethered to the place you died? This is the story of Marcus Webb, and the year he graduated twice. My older sister Emily graduated from Ridgemont High in 2019. I was in 8th grade, still at the middle school down the road. She used to show me her yearbook sometimes, point out friends, enemies, crushes. One face always stood out to me. Marcus Webb. 3rd row in the senior class photo. Leather jacket, dark hair, distant smile. He looked like someone who didn't quite belong. Emily said he was quiet, kept to himself, sat alone at lunch, left town right after graduation. No one knew where he went. Probably wanted to start fresh, she said, and can't blame him. That's why I was so confused when I saw him in my English class in 2022. Same face, same leather jacket, same distant smile. He introduced himself to the teacher as Marcus Webb. New transfer, senior year. I stared. It couldn't be the same person, but it was. Exact same. I approached him after class. Hey, did you go here before? In 2019? He looked at me, through me. No, first time. You sure? You look exactly like... I said no. He walked away. I called Emily that night, told her. She didn't believe me. Maybe a brother? Cousin? I don't think so. She pulled out her yearbook, flipped to the senior section. There he was. Marcus Webb. That's him, I said. Same guy, same everything. She went pale. That's impossible. Why? She grabbed her laptop, searched his name, found his Facebook. Last post, August 2019. Finally free. Then nothing. No updates, no photos. Account dormant. She kept digging. Found a news article from the Asheville Citizen-Times. August 14th, 2019. Local teen dies in hiking accident. Marcus Webb, 18, of Ridgemont, was found dead after a fall near the Appalachian Trail. Body recovered by search and rescue. Funeral services held August 20th. I felt cold. Emily's hands shook. He's dead. He's been dead for 3 years. Then who the hell is in my English class? We decided to confront him. Waited after school near the parking lot. He walked past us. Emily stepped in front of him. Marcus? He stopped, looked at her. No recognition. You graduated in 2019. I was in your class. Emily Hartman. He tilted his head. I don't know you. You're dead. You died in 2019. His face didn't change. No shock. No denial. Just that same distant look. Then he smiled. Not warm. Not friendly. Empty. I never got to walk at graduation, he said quietly. They found me too late. 3 days in the woods. By the time they brought me back, everyone had left. I missed it. I just wanted to finish. Emily's face went white. I grabbed her arm. Marcus turned and walked away. We didn't follow. The next day, his desk in English was empty. I asked the teacher where he was. She looked confused. Who? Marcus Webb, the transfer student. We haven't had any transfers this semester. I checked the attendance records in the office. No Marcus Webb. I looked at the seating chart. His desk was marked empty. Had been all year. I asked other students. No one remembered him. Emily pulled out her yearbook that night. Flipped to the senior section. Marcus's photo was gone. Just a blank space where he'd been. But if you looked closely, really closely, you could still see the faint outline of a face. Smiling. We visited his grave, Ridgemont Cemetery. The headstone was there. Marcus Anthony Webb, 2001-2019. Fresh flowers. Someone still visited. We left. We didn't talk about it, but I see him sometimes, in crowds, at the grocery store, walking past the school. Always in that leather jacket, always alone. And every time, he looks at me with that distant smile, like he's still waiting, still hoping, still trying to finish what death took from him. I don't know if Marcus is a ghost, a memory, a glitch in reality, but I know he's not at rest. And I know that sometimes the things we leave unfinished follow us, even into death. Maybe especially into death. I just hope that when my time comes, I don't have any regrets, because I don't want to end up like Marcus, stuck, searching, never able to move on. Mirrors are strange things. They show us who we are, but sometimes they show us who else is watching. This is the story of the third-floor bathroom and the girl who never left. The third-floor girls' bathroom at St. Augustine Prep was always colder than the rest of the school. Not just chilly, cold, the kind that made your breath fog even in spring. Most girls avoided it, used the bathrooms on the first or second floor, but I liked it. It was quiet, empty, a good place to skip pep rallies. It was a Friday afternoon in October, homecoming week. The gym was packed for the rally. I slipped away, headed upstairs. The hallway was empty. The bathroom door creaked when I pushed it open. Inside, the fluorescent lights hummed. 3 stalls, 2 sinks, a long mirror above them. I stood at the sink, fixing my makeup. Mascara, lip gloss, the usual. That's when I saw her, in the mirror, standing behind me. A girl, maybe 16, wearing an outdated uniform, pleated skirt, Peter Pan collar, knee-high socks, like something from the 60s. Her hair was dark, pulled back in a neat ponytail. Her face was pale, expressionless. I spun around. No one there. I looked back at the mirror. She was still there, staring directly at me. Her lips moved. No sound, but I could read them. Get out. I grabbed my bag and ran. Didn't stop until I reached the first floor. My friends found me in the courtyard, pale and shaking. I told them. They laughed. thought I was pranking them, said I'd watched too many horror movies. But Megan, one of the seniors, didn't laugh. She looked serious. You saw her? You know about this? She nodded. Everyone knows. No one talks about it. The third-floor bathroom is haunted. Has been for decades. That night, I couldn't sleep. I researched the school's history. Found an article from 1967 in the local archives. A sophomore named Catherine Moreau was found dead in the third-floor bathroom. Wrists slashed. Ruled a suicide. The school tried to cover it up. Bad publicity. But students talked. Years later, during renovations in the 90s, they found her diary hidden behind a loose tile in that same bathroom. The final entries were heartbreaking. She'd been bullied relentlessly, called names, excluded, humiliated. Her last entry dated the morning of her death. They'll see me, every day, forever. They'll never forget what they did. Students started reporting strange occurrences, faucets turning on by themselves, lights flickering, cold spots, and the mirror, always the mirror. Girls would see her reflection, standing behind them, watching. I didn't go back, not for weeks, but curiosity gnawed at me. I had to know. One afternoon, after school, I went back alone. The bathroom was silent, empty. The mirror was fogged, even though the room was freezing. I stepped closer. Condensation covered the glass, and then slowly, words appeared. Written from the inside. You look like them. I glanced down at my outfit. Pleated skirt, collared, shirt. It was Retro Spirit Day. I was dressed exactly like her, like the girls who tormented her. I tore off the shirt, grabbed my hoodie from my bag. The words on the mirror faded. I left, didn't look back. But the bathroom stayed with me. I started having dreams. Catherine standing in front of the mirror, wrists bleeding, staring at me with empty eyes, whispering, "You look like them." I transferred schools at the end of the semester. Told my parents I wanted a fresh start. They didn't ask why, but even now, years later, I avoid mirrors in dim lighting. Because sometimes, just for a second, I see her, standing behind me, watching, making sure I remember, making sure no one forgets what happened to her. Catherine Moreau died in 1967, but she's still there, still watching, still waiting for someone to acknowledge what was done to her. Mirrors don't just reflect, they remember, and some reflections never fade. I just hope that when I look in the mirror, I see only myself. But deep down, I know she's there, always there, watching.